Hello everyone, I'm Sean,
This is Hoon.
and we are the Courageour Frights, back once again for another movie review.
Yes.
This time 2 movie reviews.
With horror.
Yes, we're doing Evil Dead Rise.
Yes.
The brand new movie, and also Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, the remake.
Yes, 2013's
Yes.
remake. So, I guess we'll start with Evil Dead Rise, because most people watching this are probably going to want to hear what we have to say about that first, because it's the current movie in theaters. All right, so Evil Dead Rise, I guess we should talk a little bit about Evil Dead, of course.
Yeah.
What is Evil Dead?
It's about evil and
And they're dead.
Yeah.
So it was a movie that was created by Sam Raimi back in 1981. I think it had a production that went on for several years. But
yeah, did they have a lot of problems making that movie?
I think so. I mean, it was like a first major production for Sam Raimi. It was based on a short film that I think he did.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't remember, it was something in the woods or something.
Like Evil in the Woods or something.
Something like that, yeah. And it was basically Sam Raimi and his lifelong friend Bruce Campbell, just basically making a movie out in the forest.
Yeah, where
Kind of every filmmaker's dream, pretty much.
And that was pretty low budget, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, very low budget.
Yeah, because it was like, did it really even show monsters? I can't remember. I haven't seen Evil Dead, the first one, in so long that I can't remember if there was a lot of like monsters or if it even showed a lot.
I mean, I think it did. I think that's one of the reasons why Evil Dead is so popular, is that it went there.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have the budget. They couldn't do it, but they didn't care. They showed it anyway.
Yeah, because I know that special effects were pretty decent in that.
Yeah, given that there's no budget.
Yeah, with no budget.
There's a lot of Italian movies that were coming out at that time that had no budget also, but had like spectacular special effects because they had maestros of effects that had kind of honed the craft, whereas these guys were just kind of figuring out what they're doing.
Yeah, they're probably like coming out of college or something.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it was, pretty much.
Like, let's make a movie.
Yeah, so it was very much like the ultimate indie horror film.
Yeah, probably an indie back in the 80s, 70s.
Yeah, so I think it was filming in the 70s into the 80s.
Yeah.
So, but of course it caused this massive cult phenomenon where you ended up with 2 direct sequels and then a TV series that went on for a few years before it randomly got canceled.
Yeah.
And a remake, which we're about to talk about later on, and then also this newest film, which Evil Dead Rise.
Yes.
Which departs the most from the formula, because the first 2 movies, as well as the 2013 remake, are all a cabin in the woods setting.
Yeah, and I guess, the cabin in the woods setting is like the biggest thing.
Right. And this new one actually starts in a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like a red herring, because that's not like the real plot.
Yeah, because it kind of like says one day ahead earlier or something.
Yeah, so it starts out with this, I guess it's a woman and her friend and her boyfriend are all in the cabin and like up by the lake.
Yeah, it seems like their friend is like sick or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I gave her some like clonazepam.
Yeah.
And she's gonna be sleeping for hours.
Yeah, but she doesn't sleep for hours. She wakes up.
She wakes up and reads a book to the lady.
Yeah, she reads, it's like book on tape.
Yes, exactly.
So as she's reading Wuthering Heights or whatever, she narrates it without looking at the book, which is super creepy.
Yeah.
And then she proceeds to get into a fight with her and scalp her friend with her bare hands.
Grabs her hair and just like rips it, which is on the trailer.
It's in the Red Band trailer, yeah. And then goes out into the dock and basically like kills her boyfriend.
And the guy's like peeing in the river or something. And then he kills the boyfriend and then...
Seems like a man of culture.
Yes.
Then it cuts to one day earlier and we get the actual movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a fake out opening, which they did with, I think, the last Friday the 13th movie did that too, where they introduced a bunch of characters and then just killed them all. And then it was like, oh, that first 18 minutes was actually just a prologue. This sort of happens again with this, except for it's not 18 minutes of it. It's just like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 2 minutes.
And then it starts the actual plot. And this movie's a little interesting because the director of the film is Irish. I think most of the production cast is Irish.
Yeah.
It was filmed partially in Ireland, but I think almost all of the lead actors are actually Australian.
Yeah.
So it's basically an Irish-Aussie film.
Yeah.
And which is funny because 2013's Evil Dead is mostly a New Zealand Aussie film.
Yeah.
With, I think, American actors, but the production was all in New Zealand. So this is kind of interesting how all the Evil Dead movies anymore are either Australian connected or New Zealand connected.
Yeah.
Or Irish connected, I guess. The main core plot of this movie with our Australian actors
yes.
is there's a mother and she has 3 kids, and then her sister comes to visit.
Yeah, because it seemed like she's been like in LA for a while. Because I guess like the first part, she's like, I didn't realize your husband like left you or something.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I've been calling you.
Yeah, she just ignores her sister or whatever. Doesn't pay attention to her messages.
But I think she like works at like, I don't know if she's like a groupie. She keeps calling her a groupie, but I think she like works as like.
Yeah, the mom keeps saying she's a groupie, but then she says that she's like electronic or a guitar technician. Yeah. So like she's not just like a random groupie.
Yeah,
There's
she's
a
like
reason.
The lead person that does like works with the people, like works with this. I don't know what the
tech and stuff.
the tech and stuff.
Yeah, because I think they show that later in the movie because she's able to rig the record player up into battery format.
Yeah, exactly.
So like she's clearly more than just a groupie.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's very obvious that they have like a strained relationship, her and her sister. I guess she just visited to get advice or something from her sister because she's pregnant.
Yeah, it's like the very first scene where she's like in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And she's like peeing on a pregnancy test or whatever, and
it
doesn't say what the results are, but it's like
you can kind of guess.
Yeah, it's obvious. Probably was a positive.
Yeah, so it's sort of like the story of like the reluctant metalhead mother.
Yes,
which is actually almost a subplot in horror films because there's like Mama and a few other movies that had the same sort of feel to a character.
That's kind of like, is that like the new thing? Is that like one of the newer horror tropes, or I don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if it's really a trope. I mean, there's only like a handful of movies I can think of that do that, but there might be more.
Yeah, there might be.
Mama was the one that came to mind. But yeah, it's the same thing. And in that case, as in this case, the metalhead reluctant mother is actually really good at not only being protective of the children, but also really good at avoiding stupid horror trope situations.
Unlike our other characters.
Yes. I don't think we're going to go into a full spoiler review for this one, but suffice to say, it's pretty obvious what happens from the trailers.
Yeah.
At some point, it's a little contrived, but there's like an earthquake, and the kids get a hold of the Book of the Dead, Necronomicon or whatever.
Yeah, because the one kid, he's like, I'm assuming he wants to be like a DJ or something.
Yeah.
So there's like vinyls down in the basement, and then like this like sarcophagus has like it has a Necronomicon in it.
It has the book, yeah. So he takes it out and he stupidly plays the records.
Yeah, he tried turning it off before it'd be finished, but it kept playing because it was like, I don't know if it was it's probably getting possessed or something.
Yeah. And his mom gets possessed.
Yeah. She's like doing laundry.
She's just buying her own business, trying to get the laundry done, and she gets possessed.
Which that happens, looks like it happens all the time in these movies.
Yeah, that's a running gag too. Like
random person.
Same thing happens in the 2013 film.
Yeah.
Where some jerk reads from the Necronomicon and
when it specifically says don't read it.
Yeah, and then some random bystander gets infected instead.
Yeah.
But so this case, the mother ends up possessed, and then she spends the whole movie trying to kill her children.
Yeah.
And so, as you might imagine, it's very brutal.
Yeah, there's some brutal scenes in this.
It has some really gory moments.
Yeah.
It's very intense throughout. And like, I would say, like, it's not the most intense horror film I've seen or whatever, but like, if you're even remotely squeamish, I would suggest maybe not watching this one or looking away at certain scenes.
I had to do that because I'm not really used to these type of movies that often, but like the one person, she's like eating glass.
Yeah.
And it's like she's swallowing it. It's just like, it's like coming through
her throat. Yeah.
It's like nasty.
There was a bloodier glass eating scene in Oculus, but this one, the part where she swallows it and it's like poking out of her neck, that was gross.
And another one that had it in this was in the Red Band trailer too, where she takes this like the box grater and she throws it and the lady grabs it and just puts it on her leg and just like
the cheese grater scene. I think that's probably going to be a memorable scene.
Yeah, I think that's the one people remembered it by mostly.
Yeah. So it does have some very bloody, gory moments, a lot of intense violence. Exorcist style language.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sort of thing. So, but like, if you've seen other Evil Deads, you know what you're getting into. It's just like the original movies, but the effects work has improved.
Yeah, like quite a bit.
Yeah.
Even though there's parts in there's a couple scenes it's like, that's kind of dumb. Like the one she grabs the one, like the other tenant.
Yeah.
He bites his eyeball out and then throws the eyeball into another kid's mouth.
Spits it into somebody else's mouth.
And he chokes on it and dies. And
yeah,
so
that was pretty stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
But that almost got to the camp level of like Evil Dead 2.
Which Evil Dead 2 and 3, I think, both have.
Well, 3's like just a comedy.
Yeah, they're like horror comedies at that point.
Yeah. So it does dabble in that, but I wouldn't say, if you're going to see like Bruce Campbell cheese, that's not here. And it's also not in the 2013 film either.
Like, it's this movie that kind of felt like they tried to do some of, like, at least the dialogue.
Yeah.
It has some of that Bruce Campbell-ness.
Well, there is a "come get some" line. Yeah,
pretty
which
much.
I'm pretty sure is a Bruce Campbell.
It's obviously where they got that, because it's like his lines that he would normally say.
In every Evil Dead movie so far, in a moment, we're gonna kind of compare this to the 2013 film because they're both very similar in a lot of ways. But they take a lot of style from Sam Raimi's like cinematography.
Oh yeah.
And then they also take bits and pieces of Evil Dead lore, like not only obviously the Book of the Dead is in here, but also every one of them has a shotgun and a chainsaw.
Yeah.
So they like have to go. They're really big on their boomsticks and chainsaws.
Yeah. And the cinematography in particular. I know like
both
like the scene
films.
where she's like in the outside looking up at the skyscraper. It has like almost like a, I don't know if it's like a widening. I don't know what type of lens they used.
Yeah.
But it made it a lot more imposing than it normally would be because it's like a building.
Yeah, but when you're looking up at it.
It's like they must have went really low to the ground with like, I don't know, a wide angle lens or something. I don't know what type of lens they would use, but it looks very imposing, which that's kind of how I think that's Sam Raimi, I would say. That's probably one of his signature styles or something. And they do that quick cut thing.
Yeah, and they also do the thing where they follow the camera's point of view.
Yeah, where it's like like going through the ground and
at the beginning, especially. But in this one, it's like a fake out and it goes to a drone. Yeah. But it does show you how they got that shot.
Yeah, pretty much.
But however, in 1980, it didn't have a drone.
No.
So how Sam Raimi achieved that originally is like a cinematic marvel.
He's running through the woods.
And that's why a lot of people copy it, because it does have like first time ever achieved in film type of vibes.
Yeah.
But this one does take from that. So this was directed by Lee Cronin, who, as I said, is an Irish writer and director.
Yeah. And
he definitely took a lot of cues from Sam Raimi's style.
Yeah.
And the acting in this one was pretty good.
Yeah, I like the acting.
Especially Alyssa Sutherland, who played the mother. She was really like intimidating.
She's pretty good at that. She was like her facial expressions are pretty good.
Yeah.
She's smiling like this weird. It's like very unsettling.
Yeah, and she's been in other stuff before. Like she was in the Vikings. She played Queen Aslaug in the Vikings, and she's been in a few other movies that I've seen before. She was in a movie called Blood Vessel, which I did do a review on this channel, and it was kind of like a vampire on a ship type movie during World War II, and that was pretty decent. And stuff like that. So, I mean, she's been in horror
and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she does a wide variety of stuff, but she does do a lot of horror, it seems. But I think she was the standout in this movie.
Yeah, I would say she was probably the best person there. Followed by maybe, I like the sister.
The sister was good, too. She's another Australian actress.
Yeah, she was pretty good. Like, I guess those are their leads, though, so.
Yeah, they better be good.
Yeah, they better be good.
That was Lily Sullivan.
Yeah.
And, the little girl was alright, too.
Even though she did this stupid
She did do something really stupid, though. My one issue with her is they established the little girl as being, like, kind of... We were talking about the metalhead, reluctant mother who is into, quote-unquote, like, dark, evil things because of metal or whatever. It's that satanic panic nonsense. But... she's also intelligent when it comes to these like dark, twisted situations. Yeah. The little girl is set up as that at a young age.
Yeah.
Where she's into like macabre things. She has a doll. She cuts a doll's head off and sticks it on a stick.
She went on to Wiccan Wiki a couple times.
Oh God, that's nonsense again.
That's a Renfield thing. So
yeah, that was a Renfield reference.
Yeah.
Wiccan Tumblr.
Yeah, Wiccan Tumblr. There it is. I couldn't
remember what it was. Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was either. Yeah, she spends all her nights in Wiccan Tumblr.
Yeah.
But yeah, she cuts a doll's head off and sticks it on a stick and calls it Staffney.
Yeah.
And this is what she does for fun, and then harass her sister and brother with it.
Yeah.
So she's a little dark, and so you would think she would be a little smarter because she is much smarter in most situations. But there is a point in the movie where she randomly just opens the door to let the demon in.
Yeah, I know the demon's like, obviously she's sitting there creepily singing.
Yeah.
With like blood all over. She's like, oh, my dad's here.
Yeah.
Let me kiss to him.
Yeah, and there's nobody there.
Yeah, it's obviously no one there. The elevator's broken.
Yeah, there's no way another person came in that floor.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
But whatever. So overall, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I did like it.
I did enjoy this one a lot. I don't know how I'd rate it.
Yeah, maybe it's out of movies this year. It's probably up there.
Yeah, I'd give it like 8 or 9 personally.
Yeah,
like it's good. I would say unquestionably it's the best horror movie we've seen this year.
Which movies did we watch this year? Like
Megan, Renfield, if you want to count that.
Yeah, I want to count that as a horror movie.
What else did we watch?
I think it might have been Cocaine Bear, I guess.
Cocaine Bear, but again, do you want to count that as a horror movie?
That might be it.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. You'd have to go back and look. But yeah, I think it's probably going to go down as one of the better horror movies.
Yeah, but horror movies, it's one of those movies that at least it's a different setting from the Evil Dead movies, and also
that's the biggest change.
And the acting was good, and it pays homage to the Evil Dead movies, like it pretty well.
Right. Yeah.
So
I think if you like the Evil Dead movies, you'll like this.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the 2013 one, which we're about to talk about, I think you'd like this.
If you like gore.
Yeah, I think you'll like this for
gore,
sure.
Violence.
If you want to see a weird abomination creature.
That was pretty good. I did like that. It's like
that seemed mostly practical, too.
I'm pretty sure it was, because it's like a fusion of all, like... Cause like a lot of, I guess this is a spoiler.
Yeah, it's spoiler. We won't go into the details, but...
Yeah, it's like a fusion of a lot of the guys that are there, so...
Yeah, it's kind of cool. The only thing I would say maybe knocks a couple points off is typical dumb horror trope stuff.
Yeah.
Like people doing stupid stuff.
Like the kid, he's like...
Mostly the kid's just doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, he's like, let me play it even though obviously there's something wrong with this book.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of stupid.
Yeah,
there is kind of a funny part. There's a little Bruce Campbell voice cameo.
Yeah.
Where they're reading from the passage and there's a voice that's just like, there's a reason why it's called Book of the Dead.
Yeah, that's the Bruce Campbell.
That's Bruce Campbell saying that. That was kind of funny.
That one where they actually said that was actually like a connection.
Yeah.
To the other movies.
Yeah, he said that it's supposed to be a time-displaced Ash Williams.
Yeah.
Which if you've seen Army of Darkness, he goes back in time.
Which we'll probably go into this after our next review, but...
Yeah. Okay, so... yeah, that was kind of weird. The one thing I did like about the new Book of the Dead is that it's not in English anywhere.
Oh, yeah, that was a good...
They didn't have anything to read. It wasn't even in Latin. Like, you couldn't read it.
Yeah.
It was all in ancient languages. In fact, I'm pretty sure... I only saw it for a glimpse, but I'm almost 100% sure the first page was in Ogham, which is like an ancient Irish script, which is kind of cool.
And I guess the guy was like translating all this stuff, at least that the priest or whatever.
Yeah, so you need somebody who actually had training to translate this thing. So not any moron could read from it.
Yeah.
But then any moron could play the record.
Yeah, exactly.
So
when he had the record in there, he just kept it on there.
He also stupidly made the third disc, the third vinyl, the one that he explains not to read from it.
Yeah, I know.
Should have started with that.
He just started with the first one as a disclaimer.
Yeah, it's like
don't play the remainder one, just play this one.
Yeah, he's talking about how he had to dismember everybody he knew and all that stuff. And it's like
there's only certain things you can do.
Yeah, probably should have started with that instead of labeling the other one A and B.
Yeah, which it changes it like from the 2013 movie. It's like changes some of the stuff, and I don't know if it's based on the books or something. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the stuff, maybe the books are different. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the same book every time or what.
This one looked a little bit different. So.
Well, the book definitely looks different.
It had like teeth on it.
Yeah, this one had teeth, and on top of that,
the pictures are like
super detailed.
Yeah, they're very detailed, and it's obviously written like blood instead.
Yeah, it's written like blood, and the illustrations must have been done like in the 17th century or later.
Yeah,
because it's got very detailed, or maybe 16th century, but it has that very detailed drawing style that you see from like the 16th, 17th century. Anything earlier than that, it would have been like goofy stick people.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to see cave drawings.
I want to see, I want to
cave drawings.
I want to see a Necronomicon where the illustrations are like medieval manuscripts.
Yeah,
there's randomly like bunny rabbits stabbing people and stuff.
Yeah,
for
there
no
we
reason. Go. That would be great. Or those Norman drawings where the guy's bigger than the castle he's standing in. And stuff. They had great sense of scale back then.
Yes.
All right. The only other little nitpick I think I would give is maybe I like that they changed the setting to an apartment complex, but then they also kind of limit themselves by only keeping it on one floor of the building.
Yeah, that was kind of a disappointment.
So there is a part where the mother goes on a rampage and attacks the other tenants, but there's only like 5 other people on the floor, so like they can't get the body count much higher than the cabin in the woods scenario.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a cabin, but it's literally a cabin, but it's just because it's on the floor, one floor.
Yeah, pretty much. So
and your cast is like other tenants, like the 5 other tenants that live there, because the building's like being condemned or something.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
The 5 other tenants that live on that floor.
Yeah.
And that's like it.
So that was maybe another nitpick. I would say it's a nitpick.
Yeah,
but it's not. It doesn't break the film.
Yeah, because I can see why they did, with the budget being only like, it was like 14 million or something.
Yeah, it was like 17 or 18 or something, but it was low.
Yeah, like this movie's like only like an hour and a half or something. So if they already done the whole building, it probably would have.
It would have stretched it out, and it would have probably taken the plot away from the family, which is the main concern.
Yeah, because it's showing like the family is like the biggest.
Yeah, and I would say this is probably probably the most scary version of Evil Dead, just because of the plot line, because it's like a mother attacking her own children. Yeah. So like that kind of makes it more intense, I think. Because children are gonna obviously see their mother as like the most like protective figure, and then she's trying to kill them.
And they're like,
which I mean,
kill you.
Yeah, which unfortunately does happen in real life.
Yeah.
There are cases of mothers that have killed their children and stuff, but it's always adds another level of tragedy to it. So I think that made it a bit more intense.
That's a good formula change to the formula that normally it's like teenagers.
Yeah. Teenagers or like early 20-somethings or whatever.
Or like
but
college kids or something.
Yeah, they're more like college kids or something in the other versions. But and they shifted it more towards like a female focus, which they started doing with the 2013 film.
Yeah, the 2013 film definitely had a lot of female focus.
Did that same thing pretty much. So yeah, like I said, if you really like 2013, you'll love this one. I think it's very similar in a lot of ways.
Which, like I said, we'll get to it when it gets.
Yeah, we're gonna shift over into the 2013 one. So, if you like this part of the review, give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing for more content in case you're gonna peace out here.
Yeah, exactly.
And you too could feel its strength welling within. Yes. And if you're sticking around for the 2013 review, which you may have already seen this movie, you may have not.
Yeah.
It's a 10-year-old movie.
I have never seen it.
Yes, you have never seen it. I think I saw it just once in the theater when it came out. Some dude threw up in the aisle.
Which that movie had some gruesome things in it too. Like,
I think
actually very gruesome.
Actually,
this one might even be a little bit worse.
I was gonna say I think 2013 was actually a bit more gruesome than Rise.
Like, since it's an older movie, I'd probably go a little more.
Yeah, we could probably do spoilers on this one.
But like, cause she like takes the knife, box cutter, and just cuts her tongue in half.
Yeah, I think that might have been the scene where that dude threw up.
Yeah, probably. Or the one where that lady cuts her arm off.
Cuts her arm off with that, like whatever that's called.
That looks pretty practical, and it looked pretty nasty.
Yeah, somebody like cuts their arm off at the bicep with like turkey carver or something.
Yeah, that was like sitting on the ground.
Yeah, like that's pretty brutal. There's actually 2 scenes of people ripping their arm or hand off in the same movie.
That's what she's at the very end. She rips her hand off because she's like pulling it.
Which I'm not quite sure you could do that.
Yeah, especially with the car on it. It had mud on there, so it probably could have been easy just to dig yourself out of there.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, the mud is like soft enough to where you could be like, Probably just dig a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to just pull your hand off like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's random spoilers, but
yeah.
So the 2013 one was directed by Fede Alvarez, who is a Uruguayan director, and he's very similar to the guy who directed Evil Dead Rise in the sense that he seems to be very obviously paying homage to Sam Raimi's like cinematography, like strongly.
Especially this one, because this obviously was like a reboot. Like I know it's not a reboot, but it almost felt like
sort
a
of
reboot.
is. Like it's basically a remake of the original film until like they start tying things in later at the very end, and it's almost like, is it the same cabin?
It might be. It almost looks like the same cabin
from 1981 because there's a scene. Well, the opening scene is almost like looks like almost like a Resident Evil like prologue scene
from like 7 or something.
Yeah, where it's like years ago, and this guy's like burns his daughter alive because she's a deadite and was infected or whatever, possessed.
It's like, you killed her. Like, I didn't kill her.
Yeah, because apparently she killed her mother or something, and the father burned her alive.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the intro to it. But I also noticed that there's that storm cellar or whatever with the door.
Yeah.
Which is like the same cabin from the original movie.
Yeah, it looked exactly the same.
But when they lift the carpeting up, there's a massive blood stain that's stained in the wood, like it's been there for years.
Yeah, they didn't like clean it.
So is that like a blood stain from the 80s or like?
That could be it.
Because it was just a stain in the wood that looked like it'd been there for decades.
That could be it.
So I was wondering if that was like, maybe it was either a reference to that opening scene or it was a reference to the original movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's supposed to be the cabin or not. It's been forever since we've seen the original movie. So
I think the last time I saw Evil Dead, the first movie, was in college.
Yeah.
And that's a while ago.
That might have been when I saw it too.
Yeah.
It's been a while, which we got to fix at some point.
Yeah.
But so this one, whereas Rise is focused on a family unit, this one is focused around friends, which is more similar to the original plot. In this case, it's all the friends are all kind of centered around Mia, who's like a recovering drug addict.
Yeah.
So they have more focus on that, which is kind of cool that each movie has a different like social commentary thing.
Yeah.
Which is something you see in horror a lot.
Yeah.
They always build the whole plot around like a social issue.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So in this case, it's about drug use. In the other one, it's about, motherhood and all that kind of stuff. So this one, the cast of characters is much more similar to original Evil Dead. It's like some 20-somethings that go to a cabin in the woods that I guess the family owned or something, because there's pictures of them.
Yeah, he's like...
But nobody noticed that this massive blood stain was on the floor.
One seemed to have took that carpet away.
Nobody ever moved that carpet.
That was just there, except Grandpa did, which Grandpa's a dog.
Grandpa was a dog, yeah. Yeah, warning, the dog dies in this one.
Yeah.
There's a cat in Dead Rise, but I don't know if the cat died or not. It was off screen, and they didn't actually, they didn't focus on it.
Yeah, it was like, it's the random stray cat that, they're like,
it
likes to go in the ventilation
in the ducts or whatever. Yeah, so the cat, I guess, could have survived in
probably
Evil Dead Rise. But in this case, there's a dog, so warning. I always hate it when animals die in movies, but it seems to happen a lot in horror. So this one, there's Mia, who's the main character. Then there's Eric, who's like a teacher or something. Then there's her brother, or Mia's brother. His name was like David or something.
Yeah.
And then David's girlfriend, Natalie, and then their friend, was it Olivia, who's a nurse?
Yeah, Olivia.
Yeah, which we don't really know what happened to Olivia. She kind of disappeared.
You got hit in the head.
Yeah.
And she obviously walked out the door.
Right. Yeah, she opened the cellar.
Yeah, and walked out.
To let the other one out and then left. But I guess we'll get to that later, I guess. So they all go to this cabin. It's kind of like an intervention or something. But then they find the creepy basement with these dead cats everywhere. And
yeah, because Grandpa is gnawing on the carpet or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is that? And then it was just blood stain. And it's like, let me go down here.
Oh, right. It gets creepy basement. And then they find the Book of the Dead.
And it's it smells really bad. And it's They have a book or something that's covered in like barbed wire.
Yeah, and this one is covered in barbed wire.
Yeah, and he's like, don't you open it.
Yeah, but then he opens it anyway. Eric is a genius.
It's like, what could possibly be in there that you want to see? I mean, it smells bad because they're like stinking. They're like covering their noses and stuff. It's like, it's probably a dead raccoon or something.
Yeah.
Don't open it up.
Nah, they're like, no, let's open it. And then they find it's a book and he's like, let's read it.
Yeah, he's like the one like translating this thing because this one has. The older one had, like, Sumerian in it. Which this one has Sumerian in it, but it has, like, passages were kind of translated.
It's, like, translated already.
Like, it's obviously been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And the people have been writing stuff in it throughout the years, I guess.
Because at least it's translated in the Latin script that he could read.
Yeah, and the one guy, like, the one of them was, like, do not read... It literally says, do not read this.
Yeah. And the guy reads
it. It was, like, scratched out, like, really badly with, like, ink or something.
Yeah.
And then he takes a piece of paper, it's like... He takes it and, like, does that little...
Tracing over.
Yeah, tracing over, and is like...
And then he knows exactly...
whatever that saying is.
Yeah. So he summons the Deadites. Much like Evil Dead Rise, the jerk that actually reads the passage isn't the one that gets possessed. Instead, it's Mia who's, like, walking around outside.
Yeah, she's just, like, walking randomly because she's, like, a drug addict.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And then she gets possessed.
She tries to get out of there, taking the car.
Yeah, she's like, I'm leaving because I keep seeing things out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, and then, like, her doppelganger attacks her. And
this is that one infamous scene, which I remember this coming out when it first came out with, like, it's like a tree rape scene.
Yeah, it's in either the first Evil Dead or the second one.
I know this one was, like, when this one came out, I remember the people were saying about this specifically.
Yeah. But it's in one of the original ones, too. Yeah. So we get that, and then she gets fully possessed.
Yeah, because she, like, dies.
Yeah.
Or I get, like, really taken over, I guess.
They take her back to the cabin.
Yeah, and then she's like, I see things. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, but in that case, she's already possessed.
Yeah, she's already possessed, and she's, like, in the shower, like, with burning hot water.
Yeah, the brother goes out and finds that she killed the dog with a hammer.
Yeah.
And then he goes to confront her, and she's in the shower, like, melting her skin off.
Yeah. Which that was, like, in the book, because the one professor, I don't know, was he a professor? I don't know.
He's a high school teacher.
A high school, okay, he was like, I saw that somewhere. Yeah. He's, like, literally just like, I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, guy.
Okay. You sure it was in a book?
Yeah.
Sure it wasn't nothing?
Yeah, exactly. Then it shows, like, some person, like, pouring boiling hot water, and there's, like, a passage someone wrote.
Yeah, this guy, both movies have this character where they read from the book, but I guess they're too embarrassed to say anything or whatever. So they withhold, like, need-to-know information.
Yeah, I'd be like, I saw this in this book.
But they finally admit it, like, 30 minutes later.
Yeah. He's like, I brought out something that's not of this world.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, they try to take her to the hospital, but then...
Like the river's out.
Yeah, the river. Raining. Yeah, the river like washed away the road.
Yeah. So
they have to come back, and then basically all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Everybody gets infected, pretty much.
Yeah, because like the nurse gets infected first because she gets thrown up in their mouth.
Yeah.
It's like nasty.
Which that's a Sam Raimi thing to do too.
Like always throwing up in people's
mouths. He did that in Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
So he's big on that, even though this isn't Sam Raimi, but Fede Alvarez is definitely like kind of channeling Raimi.
Yeah, and it's almost like the Deadites kind of like...
This one, they're a bit different.
Yeah, they're like kind of weak.
Yeah,
but
compared to Rise, they seem weaker.
But they kind of like throw them, but they use they're almost like underlings or something.
Yeah.
And they kind of like can do other stuff since they're like trapped underneath the cellar and it's killing that guy because that guy gets like stabbed a million times.
Yeah, the one dude, the teacher gets stabbed like with everything.
Yeah, he's like literally just dying like the whole movie.
This dude gets stabbed like by shards of glass, knives, box cutters. He gets shot with like 20 nails.
Yeah. I mean,
stabbed with a needle multiple times.
He got shot in the same wound that he had before. Like literally got shot in the chest wound with the knife.
Yeah, with a nail.
Like, come on. Well, I guess he would deserve that.
Yeah, he's the one that started it all. This. Yeah, this is all his fault anyway.
Because like the one girlfriend or whatever tries to get liquid, but it's like I think that's how that is because they try to like trick you.
Yeah.
And that's the one where she cuts her tongue in half with, like, the box cutter.
Yeah, Mia cuts her tongue in half.
It's like, oh, gosh.
But this one's a little weird, though, because I guess the difference in this one is that they are able to, like, it's difficult to do, but you are able to unpossess somebody.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I don't quite understand that unless it's a different, like, possession altogether.
Which is a little bit different from the, okay, this is a spoiler for Rise here. In Rise, they specifically said the guy burned him alive. And they were, like, laughing.
They were laughing and dancing in the flames.
And they were like, it didn't bother them. So there was, like, almost no way to take the possession away.
No, and they said the only way to stop it was dismemberment.
Yeah, dismemberment.
Like, total dismemberment. Like, basically just chop them into tiny pieces until there's nothing left.
And then that's the way to get them to stop.
Yeah, because there's a part in Rise where they do actually chop people up into, like, nothing.
Yeah.
And then the one character towards the end is walking around that parking garage, and the little chunks of flesh, little bits of flesh are still wriggling around on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's like they're still alive, even though there's, like, nothing left of them.
Yeah.
And this one, there's 3 ways to destroy it. It's either you have to burn the victim.
Yeah, burn them by cleansing.
Yeah, dismember them.
Which, yeah, with, like, use a shotgun to blow their
arms off and head off and stuff. Or burying alive.
Yeah, burying them alive.
So he eventually decides, the brother is, like, the last possessed one.
Yeah.
And he decides to, well, initially he's going to burn the house down, but then he decides instead to bury Mia alive.
Yeah, because he hears her, like, singing or something.
Yeah, singing some old song from their childhood or something. So he buries her alive until she's dead, and then digs her up, and then is able to resuscitate her with this kind of makeshift defibrillator that he somehow made out of, like, an old battery or some shit.
Yeah, like an old battery.
I don't know how effective that would be, but okay. And it brings her back to life, and now she's suddenly cured.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Which is weird because, like, in other versions, you can even cut their head off and they're still talking.
Yeah.
So why would burying them alive even kill them at all in the first place? And if it did kill them, how does that do anything?
It's supposed to, like, I'm assuming it's supposed to, like, suffocate them or something, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was basically like the only way to destroy them was those 3 methods, and the only one you possibly could survive from is the burying alive.
Yeah, because you can die, but she had, like, 3rd-degree burns on her.
That's another thing I'm going to talk about, too. So she, like, melted her skin off in the shower.
Yeah.
And then she also split her tongue open with a box cutter.
Yeah.
But as far as we know, both of those injuries are magically healed when she comes back. At least the burns were.
Yeah, and I think the tongue was.
Pretty sure the tongue was too because she talks.
Yeah, it talked fine.
Yeah. So that's weird.
Actually, she'd be like, why is my tongue cut open?
Yeah. And she shouldn't be able to talk normally.
Yeah.
Sound like a snake. Yeah. But no, that was weird. I didn't like that.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. And
it was almost too.
Another thing that was kind of strange. It was kind of like when they buried her, like the lightning hit some tree outside. That kind of gives them, like, the idea to bury her.
Well, it gives them the idea to, like, use electricity to revive her, I think.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so he's like, they bury her and then the flame goes out next to the tree.
Yeah.
And that's how he knew to take her out. And he could hear the heartbeat, too.
Yeah, for some reason you could hear her heartbeat through, like, 3 feet of dirt.
Yeah, and then you could hear, like, the heartbeat, and also the flame goes out of this tree, and he's like, oh, she must be dead.
She's done.
Yeah, let me pull her out and then stab her in the chest with these syringes.
Yes. Yeah, that's how he knew exactly the moment to pull her out.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, okay, that
was kind of weird. But it is kind of interesting that, in fact, the only survivor was the first one possessed.
Yeah, I know.
Which is kind of different.
Yeah, that was different, for sure.
But then the final fight with the Abomination, who's just like a normal person.
I think it's supposed to be like...
I think it was that doppelganger, like Mia or something, from the beginning.
Yeah, it probably was.
But it's like, okay, it's just like a normal Deadite.
Yeah, it was like a random Deadite.
Why is this the Abomination? And then, like we were saying earlier, Olivia the nurse, there's a part where she cuts her own, like, jaw open.
Yeah.
For no reason. And then causes a big scene, and then she runs in. They had Mia locked in the cellar. She obviously runs in there, unbolts the cellar, and then runs out the door.
Yeah.
And then she's gone.
Yeah, she's literally in the woods somewhere.
Like, we never see her again.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what's going on with that. So I guess she's just running around in the woods.
Yeah, because it's like, they never went to the bathroom and looked anymore. I'm sure they just hit her in the head.
Yeah.
It's not like it would have killed her.
No.
Unless they
something
her.
opened the cellar, and then we saw the door shut outside. And then Mia was still in the basement.
Yeah, she was like...
So it wasn't her.
Tricking the other girl.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know what that was about. But, yeah, other than that, it was pretty good. The final showdown between Mia and the Abomination is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Except for the part where she rips her hand off.
Yeah,
that after the car gets flipped on it.
Skin works like that.
Yeah, it just peels off like latex.
It was pretty disgusting in parts though, because it like hits the machete through the while she's crawling in the back, and the machete goes in her knee. And
yeah, that's actually looks almost exactly like a scene from The Raid.
And the guy's like, she's like pulling out very slowly while it's like cutting her
knee. Yeah. But there's a scene in The Raid, the Indonesian movie, where Iko Uwais' character is like hiding in the wall, like a crawl space in the wall, and there's like thugs are trying to kill him or whatever, and that same thing happens where he's hiding in the crawl space, and the guy's stabbing a machete through the wall at him, and at one point the machete like cuts into his cheek.
Oh gosh.
And then he like pulls it out, and it's like the same type of thing. So, and that was actually 3 years before this, so I'm wondering
got some of it from there.
Fede Alvarez took that scene, because that scene looks like it belongs in a horror film.
Yeah, that would be
like The Raid is like a martial arts action movie, sort of like John Wick type action, but that one scene is like a horror scene. So I guess he decided that would be a good idea to put it in there.
Actually, another one that happened, like, I don't understand, is like they needed 5 souls to get this thing to start.
Did they get 5 souls?
The one person came back to life, so the soul came back.
So, yeah.
Why did they have 5 souls? They had the girl. The nurse.
Yeah, so there's Natalie, Olivia, David, Eric, and then her. Unless they count the dog.
Okay, maybe the dog's considered a soul.
That could be, because it's a living thing.
But the guy he killed himself.
Yeah.
Because he shot the gas can, because David or whatever.
Yeah, like David. Yeah, David never got possessed.
Yeah, he never got possessed.
He blew up the gas can.
He was like dying.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I'll shoot the gas can because the other guy is trying to kill me.
Eric got questionably possessed.
Yeah, it was like, I think we figured out reason why, because that was the same box cutter that she cut her tongue with.
Yeah, she stabbed him with. Yeah. So I guess transferred the blood, I guess, but that was questionable.
Like that's kind of, it was like in water too, so it was like, I
don't know about that, yeah. Well, on the same token, if you're doing spoilers for Evil Dead Rise, they survive at the end by being in a elevator that fills up with blood. But earlier in the movie, it shows that any contact with the blood in your mouth or whatever causes you to get infected or possessed. So it's like, was that blood just random blood? Where did the blood come from, by the way?
I have no idea. I can only assume it was from the Deadite, or the Abomination, because it was on top of the elevator.
I guess.
And it was just like maybe just pouring blood out of it.
It's combined with scenes of the mother getting like ripped apart to become the Abomination. Yeah. But is there that much blood in a one person or even 3 people? The elevator was full of blood. Yeah,
that was full. That was pretty bad.
Like, where did the blood come from? It's like a Shining moment.
Yeah, it was. That definitely was from The Shining. Like, it literally looked like a Shining.
That was weird. But back to this movie again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of strange that Eric got infected.
Yeah,
I'm guessing they have to be counting the dog as one of the souls because there aren't enough souls to get 5.
Yeah, there wasn't enough because Mia had to be
even with the dog, it's debatable.
Yeah, because Mia came back to life, so.
But I guess at the time she wasn't back to life.
Yeah, and then David David died because he killed himself.
Yeah, but he blew himself up. He never got possessed.
Not really getting eaten by the soul.
Unless they just mean deaths in general.
Probably deaths in general.
Because there's only 5 characters in the movie, so all of them had to die.
The dog must have.
But dog must count.
Yeah, because it had Mia was killing the dog.
Yeah.
So.
Because why did Mia even kill the dog?
Yeah, the dog had nothing to do with anything.
So I guess the dog is the fit.
Yeah, that must have been what it is.
Dog was 2, I guess.
That kind of cool special effect is coming out of the ground, and then after she killed it, like melted back into the ground.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
And blood, and it stops.
Yeah, both of them had cool effects. I would say, I guess we're gonna rate this one. I'd rate it slightly below Evil Dead Rise, but it's still an excellent film.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, if it was like, let's say Evil Dead Rise was 8, it'd be like 7.
Yeah, and if Evil Dead
Rise... it'd be pretty
Rise...
close. It wouldn't be like a far away 7.
No,
like,
if Evil Dead Rise is a 9, that was an 8.
Yeah,
like, that kind of thing.
Good. It's pretty good. Like, these two movies are really good remakes. I don't know if they're remakes but this is where we get into this part here. I guess Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell is almost trying to make like a... He said if Evil Dead Rise did well...
Which it will.
Yeah, it made like triple the amount they
made it's like $40 million worldwide on like a $17 million budget.
Yeah, he's planning on making like, or they're planning on making like every 2 to 3 years another Evil Dead movie.
Yeah.
And then he said he's also writing a Bible to where giving future filmmakers like
a template.
Yeah, a template of what, just to get all the movies combined. Like,
it's basically like sitting down and writing what is the canon of this.
Yeah, what's canon. So people can kind of like follow it.
How does this crap even work? Because I don't think any of these movies are like strictly canon to each other. And there seem to be different books and like all this other stuff going on.
Which the 2013 version was a sequel because, or at least it had Bruce Campbell. And like it literally
Bruce Campbell shows up at the end.
Ash at the end.
Yeah, he shows up and says groovy.
Like, and he's talking before then. He's like, I don't know if that's part of it, but he's like basically narrating. He's like, I found this book.
Yeah. So,
Book of the Dead, which that was almost like the, I don't know, connection from Rise, because when they listen to the tapes, and if that was, like, it was Bruce Campbell talking.
Yeah, then Rise is connected to Army of Darkness.
Yeah, that must be Army of Darkness connection.
Yeah, because
they must already be starting it.
Time-displaced Ash. So it's almost like, it's not necessarily a multiverse, but it's like different timelines and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see. Plus, are the comic books canon? Are the video games canon? Like, that kind of thing.
That's going to be a little bit hard to tell.
Because there's a lot of extra crap. And I think that's why Sam Raimi...
And the TV show. Yeah. Which I don't know if that's canon or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's canon to the original stuff, but I don't know how it fits now. But, yeah, it's definitely a bit confusing. Yeah. And it would definitely benefit from having one canon to go off of.
A person to actually write all this stuff.
And I don't think they should make any of the stuff non-canon.
Yeah, I do.
At least not the movies.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Because I think they're all valid in their own way.
Because then that's where it gets to the point where, are these books all different? Like, are they the same book?
They have to be different books. Because they don't look...
That doesn't make sense.
They don't look the same at all, and the powers are different in...
And, like, the way to destroy them are different.
Yeah. Like, they have to be different books.
Yeah, it's...
Possibly different entities or something.
Yeah, like I haven't seen the first movie in Army of Darkness in a while, so I don't remember like how those Necronomicons were.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have to go watch them.
We're gonna have to watch them eventually, but yeah, from just basing our review off of the two most recent ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences too.
Yeah.
Like, they can't possibly be the same book.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily negate the other's existence, but it has to be a different book.
Yeah, that's the connecting factor is the books or something.
Yeah, so I would be interested in seeing what Sam Raimi comes up with as like a canon, official Bible to go from for all future projects.
Yeah, especially if they think about it and then they do it. Because that's the only problem sometimes with these movies is like it gets too confusing, or if they have a template, it's like, okay, just follow.
And look how much of a mess like the Freddy Krueger movies are, or the Jason movies. Yeah. They're like a total like cluster. But they could benefit greatly from having one storyline to branch from.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, this is what happens, and this is what we can follow.
And like I said, they're all valid in their own way, so that's why I think it'd be good to write a way that all of them are connected. Because the Fede Alvarez, we're talking about the Rise one, was like a $17 million budget. Yeah. Made $40 million so far worldwide. So it's gonna make more, so it'll definitely make profit. Fede Alvarez one also did well. I mean, it did almost $100 million on a very similar budget. Yeah. It was like $19 million or something.
And like I said, I always like try to judge how how this movie's gonna be based on the people that are in, like how many people are actually watching it.
Yeah, there were a lot in the theater.
And this theater, like our theater, was fairly packed, I guess you could say. Like for a movie we normally watch, we just like no one in there.
The last 3 or 4 movies we've seen, there's like nobody in there.
Like maybe one person. This one actually was probably, I don't know if it was halfway, but it was still pretty
it was pretty decently packed.
And this is like the 3rd or 4th day. It was like, I guess this came out on Thursday or something.
So. Right, and we saw it on Sunday.
Yeah, this is Sunday right now, so.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. And I'm interested in seeing what both of these directors do in the future. Lee Cronin, the new director of Evil Dead Rise. Yeah. I want to see what he does. Fede Alvarez is currently making an Alien film for Hulu. So I'll be kind of curious to see what that's like.
Yeah.
Because he does seem like a pretty good director. So I think with that, we're going to wrap things up on our Evil Dead reviews. Maybe later we'll come back and do like the first 3 movies.
If we watch the first 3 movies again, we could probably just go through them again.
Yeah. Maybe check
like
out
a retrospective for the whole series.
Yeah, could do a retrospective for it all once we do that, and maybe watch the TV show or something.
Yeah, which I know that's like done. Like that's pretty sure that show's like over with.
Right, and then we might be trying to play some games or something down the line on Twitch or something.
Yeah.
So stick around for all that. Let us know in the comments section if any of that interests you. What your favorite Evil Dead movie was. If you saw the new one.
Yeah, Rise or Evil Dead 2013.
Yeah, or let us know.
Even the original ones.
Yeah, original ones, whatever. Anything Evil Dead, tell us about it and we'll check it out or we'll tell you what we thought. Yes. And leave a like. Consider subscribing for more content like this in the future. And you too could feel the strength welling within. See ya.
See ya.